Hello writers, Mrs. Cahill here. Let's dive into some more writing today. So you already got to create some problems for your characters and they look awesome. So excited to find out what your character's trouble is going to be. I picked something very interesting that we didn't talk about. So let's get started. So there was this one time where I saw my niece trying to ride a bike. Her name is McKenna. And she was 5 years old and she wasn't quite sure how to ride a bike. The parent told her to put on her helmet and start pedaling faster and faster. But she was kind of getting it, kind of not. They kept telling her, put your helmet on and pedal faster and faster. And then when I saw her the next time riding her bike, you're never going to guess what I noticed. I noticed McKenna putting on her helmet and whispering to herself, put on your helmet. And then she got on the bike and started pedaling and whispered to herself, pedal faster. McKenna reminded me so much of you guys. She remembered everything that she needed to do to ride a bike. And you can remember everything that you need to do when you write realistic fiction. We did a lot of new things yesterday. Some things you already knew, or not yesterday, the other day. And you knew some realistic fiction problems, and you created your character. So, check this out. Fiction writers. This is the process that we're going to take. This is the process that reminded me of what McKenna did when she was riding her bike. So, fiction writers. Make up pretend characters. We already did that. I have Mrs. Hershey. You guys have all of your fantastic ones. Make up your pretend character. Give your character a name. Imagine adventures. These can be adventures that they go on. Some are good adventures and some are not so great adventures. But that also entails the problem and the solution, how they get out of that problem. Also, they touch and tell, sketch and write. You guys should remember that a little bit when we did our little bit of a song. Touch and tell, sketch then write. Touch and tell, sketch and write. Touch and tell, sketch and write. So that's the process that we go in, and it is a never-ending cycle. First you make up pretend characters, then you give your character a name, then you imagine the adventures that they go on. Remember, that is the problem and the solution. Solution is how they get out of their problem. Touch and tell, sketch and write. And that's exactly what I did. I want to show you my story that I created for Mrs. Hershey. So here is Mrs. Hershey, okay? So this is the adventures of Mrs. Hershey. This is her first story. It's so exciting. So one beautiful day, Mrs. Hershey was teaching in her classroom with her 6 students. Their names were Megan, who is right here, Arthur, Andrew, Piper, Susie, and Max. Those are my other characters that I'll be creating. While Mrs. Hershey was teaching, she heard a noise coming from behind the plant. What is that? She thought. What do you think it is? What do you think that is behind there? Okay, this is where I have to get creative. I have to touch and tell, sketch, then write. Okay, so I just put a D just to mark my place. So let's touch and tell the words first. So in the last page, I'm going to put that D back. In the last page, she heard a noise behind a plant and wasn't sure what it was. And I think what I'm going to have her do now is I think I'm going to have her go over by the plant. And maybe she'll think, what is that noise? And I bet that some of the students are going to get a little curious to see what Mrs. Hershey is doing. Because if I think about you guys in the classroom with me, if I heard something behind a plant, all of you would want to know what's behind that plant, right? Definitely. So let's see. Okay, so I think what I'm going to put here is maybe I'm going to touch. She knelt down by the plant. It was a big bird. Mrs. Hershey felt, I'm trying to think how she would. Maybe Mrs. Hershey felt maybe a little afraid. It's not normal to have a little bird and maybe a little bird. Ooh, I think I'm going to have it be a bird because birds go cheep cheep. Arthur noticed that something was behind the plant. Oh, I like that. And then I have to touch and tell my words, sketch, and then write. So I touch and told, now I need to sketch, and then I'll write my words. Okay, so let's sketch. All right, so the first thing I have to do is I have to put my plant. So there's my plant. Now I need to add Mrs. Hershey kneeling down by the plant. Okay, so there's Mrs. Hershey. She's kneeling down by the plant. Oh, and remember there's something by the plant that's going cheep, cheep. That's where this is. Cheep, cheep. Now I need to add that little baby bird. Okay. Oops. There's my little baby bird. Isn't it cute? Such a baby bird. And then, oh, remember that Arthur is going to be very curious and he wants to know what's behind the plant. So now I need to add a character, Arthur. And let's see. Let's check and see if I can get Arthur. There we go. That could be Arthur. So here's my man Arthur, little boy. He looks a little afraid. Look at his expression. I'll make him a little bit bigger so you can see. He looks a little perplexed. That means he's a little confused. He's not quite sure what's going on. So there's my buddy Arthur. I'm going to make him just a little bit taller, I think. Okay, so there that is. So I touch and told my story. I sketched, and now I need to write. So, okay. So she knelt down by the plant. Oops, not pant. It was a big, oh, I don't like that word. It was a blue, oh, they can see that. Ooh, maybe it was a fierce, oh, it was a fierce bird. That's fantastic, I like that better. Mrs. Hershey felt, how do we say she felt? Happy? Sad? She wouldn't really feel sad. Afraid. She felt afraid. And that's Arthur. So Arthur, oops, not after. Arthur noticed that something was behind the plant. He was being curious. Fantastic. Now, boys and girls, did you notice what I did when I was trying to figure out a better word for big? I was really brainstorming some different words that I could use, and I came up with fierce. And I kept telling myself, no, she wouldn't feel sad, really. She wouldn't feel really happy. She would, oh, I'm sorry, this is, yeah. Oh, I'm talking about the afraid. I'm sorry. Afraid. We said she wouldn't be sad. She wouldn't be necessarily happy. She would be afraid for that little bird. Can you imagine how that bird feels? But remember, this is a realistic fiction, so we don't know how the bird feels. We can only assume and only think about how we think that bird feels. Now let's think about this word. I was trying to figure out a different word for this, for fierce. At first I had big, and I said, oh, that's kind of a boring word. And then I had blue, and I already know that that's blue. So friends, now it is your chance to go on and do your writing about your character and about the problems that your character is going to get into. My problem was that Mrs. Hershey found a bird in her classroom. Wouldn't it be crazy if we found a bird in our classroom? But guess what? The story's not done yet. I still have to make a solution. How is she going to get this bird out of her classroom? You'll have to find out the next time that we do writing. Boys and girls, have fun writing today. Remember, if you don't have writing paper, you can definitely do it like I did online. I can send this out, or just grab a piece of paper and write on it. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're trying, that is fantastic. Great job, boys and girls. I can't wait to see your writing. Remember, you can send me a picture of it on Facebook Messenger. You can send me an email. Feel free to do that. Boys and girls, have a wonderful day. Bye.